What's the hubbub? The current timeline has Milly Alcock, star of Supergirl, getting her looks insulted to the degree of calling her a man, mostly Snyder bros and anti-woke grifters, regurgitating feral boy insults. Yeah, that's a bit weird in superhero discourse. Because those incels don't have the brain cells to make original comments of their own. Even funnier or sadder is they are propping up CW Supergirl star Melissa Benoist in order to take Milly Alcock down. I am not throwing shade at Melissa, but didn't many of you grifter channels shit on that as a woke TV show before? Oh, she's not the target of your groupthink hate, so it's great now. I see how that works. What I recently said on a Hubbub community post was, the reality on Milly Alcock is she's someone's daughter. Call me a social justice warrior, but I have empathy. Set the DCU versus DCEU SnyderVerse debate aside for a moment. She is being goaded into responding because of toxic comments. I don't accept that as okay, and any decent person shouldn't either. This is nothing like Snow White's Zegler Gate. The Rachel Zegler controversy primarily stems from her comments about Disney's 1937 Snow White. She described the original film as extremely dated, labeled the prince as being a stalker, and noted that the live-action remake is modernized and more politically correct as a version that focuses on leadership, not a love story. Many fans found her comments to be disrespectful towards the legacy of the original film and its characters. Critics accused her of being unappreciative and smug, to put it lightly, and I think there is some credence to that. In the case of Milly Alcock, it is nothing of the sort. She isn't damaging Supergirl by pointing out toxic objectification. That was an indirect hit on the misogynistic online grifting hustler channels that are totally okay with her being cyberbullied on her looks. Online Snyder cult terrorists will do anything in the name of a Restore SnyderVerse effort. Anti-woke grifters will do anything to profit off of clicks. Meanwhile, I get questioned for having met the threshold of being able to monetize, but as of yet deciding not to. YouTuber Harsh Critic says it's because I'm paid to run Distraction as a small YouTube entertainment commentary channel. Ridiculous. I'm just trying to limit the ads and provide a cruel substance. The Restore SnyderVerse slop channels are simple. They all copy the same DCU hate topics and then use a webcam to shout wallets empty or wallets closed, or some trash shit posting like that. Any of you with daughters, let me know how you'd handle someone calling yours a man, or comparing their looks to a feral boy Mad Max character. The Will Poulter memes as well, so you think she has no right to clap back. I'll be expanding later in this video as well on this. I do want to get into the test screening implications as well here though. By the way, if you like civil debate, please subscribe to the Hubbub. We don't shut down opinions here. Of course, I ask to keep it civil. Simple stuff like keeping to the subject matter and not personal or channel insult attacks. Share your opinions, but let's keep it in point, guys and gals. So now they say test screenings suggest the James Gunn DCU Supergirl film is in trouble. Well, that's one way to look at the test screening process. It's your neighborhood movie hubbub here though. We can weave through this web of outrage to better understand what's actually going on. I'll include some reactions to some other YouTubers along the way as well. Let's start with context regarding the supposed test screening issues surrounding Supergirl. This is an article from The Direct. Report Warner Bros. Is not fully confident in James Gunn's next DC movie, so it's issuing more audience test screenings to hopefully improve it. The evidence is mounting against Milly Alcock's Supergirl being a good movie. Warner Bros. Is reportedly lacking full confidence in the upcoming Supergirl film, the second theatrical entry in James Gunn's new DCU. The movie is set to open in theaters on June 26 and has already begun its marketing push, including a second trailer that highlighted the crypto-driven storyline and offered a brief glimpse of David Cornsweet's Superman. Despite the public-facing promotional momentum, sources suggest that behind the scenes, the studio harbors quiet concerns about the film's overall quality. Supergirl has now undergone numerous test screenings, a figure that by itself suggests Warner Bros. And DC Studios have yet to fully crack the film's final form. Most major studio tentpoles go through a handful of test screenings at most. The sheer volume here suggests the project still very much in flux, with the studio actively searching for the right version of the movie ahead of its late June release date. The earliest known screening took place quietly in October 2025. As reported by The Hollywood Reporter via Reddit, Supergirl had a quiet screening on the Burbank lot with a select group of executives and a few members of James Gunn's trusted DC stable. It was an internal look, but it would be far from the last. Things became more public in December 2025 when word of a broader test screening began circulating online. Insider Daniel Richtman was among the first to weigh in on X. A test screening for Supergirl was held yesterday, and I've heard nothing but good things from several people. But Scooper Cryptic HD Quality replied directly to Richtman on X with a notably more measured assessment, notably writing, "The villain is underwhelming. Yes, Supergirl had a test screening, roughly 2 hours 5 minutes. From what I heard, feedback was not that great, but it wasn't a bad film. Some scenes shined a lot more than others. Milly is praised for her acting in the role. Lobo has 2 fights. The villain is underwhelming. Supergirl's main villain, Matthias Schoenaerts as Krem, has since been under some heat from fans because of his design change in the movie." By February 8th, another screening had taken place, and again, the responses were split. Richtman returned to X with an optimistic update. "There was another test screening for Supergirl, and I'm hearing once again that the movie is very good, but that positivity was complicated almost immediately." Axel Talks Films shared a breakdown from someone who allegedly attended the screening. He noted that Jason Momoa Lobo plays a role crucial to the ending, and that the film is a perfect balance of humor, darkness, and lightness. Warner Bros. Held a test screening held for Supergirl sometime this past week, and I've talked to somebody who was there and saw it. Lobo has a substantial role in the film and is crucial to the ending. Krem is described as extremely menacing and a tremendous villain. The cinematography is an upgrade compared to Superman's, with a specific hallway scene compared to the action sequences of those in Daredevil and Guardians 3. Much darker and serious in tone than Superman, with the human trafficking and violence being prominent, described as a perfect balance of humor, darkness, and lightness. Cryptic then responded Axel's post, corroborating most of the details, but added that Krem is reportedly lame/underwhelming. The screening was today, actually, unless there was another secret one earlier on. All this lines up, though. Only difference is both my sources didn't like Krem and thought he was lame and underwhelming. Then came March 13 when yet another screening was called overwhelmingly positive by Everything Does or TCU, reported on X. Rumor, Supergirl recently had a test screening in Irvine and the reaction is overwhelmingly positive. It was called damn good and packs a punch. The current runtime is 1 hour and 45 minutes without credits. But even that burst of positivity was immediately tempered when Cryptic replied directly to the post on X, writing that others have said the opposite. It did. Now don't come for me because I'm just the messenger. 3 others reached out to me and said the opposite. Also, is this the 5th or 6th test screening so far? 5 or 6 test screenings is a lot, but a new report points to potentially even more. On March 28, World of Real provided a comprehensive look at what has been happening behind the scenes with Supergirl. The article states that Supergirl has now test screened at least 8 times, which is a truly remarkable number by all accounts. Interestingly, it states that there have been 3 different endings shown across those screenings. The latest cut reportedly runs around 1 hour and 50 minutes and includes additional Clark Kent and Superman scenes, possibly an attempt to help sell the movie for those who loved Gunn's Superman. What's shocking about all the concern is that this film is supposed to be based on Tom King's acclaimed comic book, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Joining the party this summer will be co-stars Eve Ridley, David Krumholtz, and Emily Beecham, with director Craig Gillespie at the helm. Is Supergirl going to fail? It's worth remembering that the DCU is still in its infancy, and its first major test came with Superman this past summer. The film earned $618.7 million worldwide, landed strong reviews, and built genuine fan momentum, exactly what a rebooted universe needs. For Supergirl, there are legit reasons for optimism. Gunn has been closely involved throughout, overseeing development and signing off on what he considered a strong script from Anna Nogueira. Milly Alcock already made a memorable first impression in Superman, and if she can carry the weight of a full feature, that alone could go a long way. Strong lead performances have salvaged shakier films before. However, the concerns may outweigh those positive. Krem has been flagged as a potential disappointment, and a weak villain rarely goes unnoticed by audiences. The runtime is also worth noting. The film is currently less than 120 minutes, and that sub-2-hour window has historically been unkind to the genre. Movies like Morbius, Madam Web, or Green Lantern are a reminder of how quickly a shorter comic book film can unravel. We've looked at the entire article here. In my opinion, it's once again a case of hyper-analysis concerning the DCU. We don't actually have a confirmation of exact test screenings, but when has anyone ever looked into the reactions of screenings to this degree? Not since Superman. which was the official launch movie of the DCU. You have the anti-gun crowd and the anti-woke in search of outraged grifter crowd.
We have become very comfortable having this weird ownership of women's bodies. I can't really stop them. I can only be myself. So I guess she's talking about Hollywood, you know, trying to say women should bow down to men, or that's what I'm getting out of it. But it just like it just seemed like damage control. It seemed like they know this movie is a flop. I mean, you heard about the 3 or 4 endings that they're trying to do. You heard about the reshoot. You heard about the 8 or 9 test screenings. That's not good.
They've combined forces alongside the delusional Snyder Bros.
It looks like I'm looking at a Sega Dreamcast.
That they spend all their time and energy hating on someone else. The truth is, James Gunn has always pushed for movies he's involved with to go through multiple test screenings. It's not only him, by the way. It's something many franchise movies in particular do. It's only talked about to such a degree by social media because of it being a DCU movie. Based on reporting surrounding his casting and production processes, James Gunn is known for a rigorous screen testing process, particularly regarding chemistry reads and costume tests, often exceeding the typical requirements of modern blockbuster filmmaking to ensure his vision is met. This isn't new, it's just covered because it is Gunn. Several iconic films were significantly improved or saved by test screenings, where audience feedback prompted major changes to endings, character arcs, and pacing. Key examples include Pretty Woman, The Shawshank Redemption, and Fatal Attraction, which all adjusted their final scenes to align better with audience desires. Pretty Woman 1990, originally a dark drama where Vivian was a drug addict and the ending was bleak. Audiences hated it, leading to the romantic fairy tale ending. The Shawshank Redemption 1994, the film's famously uplifting reunion ending was kept specifically due to high praise during test screenings. Fatal Attraction, 1987, the original ending saw Alex Glenn Close kill herself and frame Dan Michael Douglas for her murder. It was changed to the famous thriller climax where she is killed by his wife Beth. Let's go over some other examples to outline my point. The Man of Steel Pa Kent in Kevin Costner, who met my Uncle Ben due to a tornado, that his superpowered son wouldn't use his powers in, had a movie in Field of Dreams, 1989. The test screening showed the audience didn't understand the final scene, leading to the addition of the "Hey, Dad" line. 28 days later, 2002, the original, much darker ending was replaced with a more optimistic one based on test audience feedback. I could find other examples as well, but that's enough for now. What is the hubbub saying from this? I'm saying that is the reason test screenings exist. The audience experience getting improved. You Snyder Bros cry that Gunn is stubborn and doesn't listen to fans, yet the process he goes through for movies he is involved with is quite extensive. Gunn often conducts extensive screen tests to evaluate chemistry between actors, rather than just individual performances. For Superman 2025, he engaged in in-depth evaluations with finalists. During Superman casting, sets were reportedly built and actors were filmed and directed with full hair and makeup to simulate the final film experience, a process used to test how an actor lives in the character. Gunn reportedly reviewed hundreds of auditions for Superman, eventually narrowing it down to a few finalists for in-person screen tests, which is in line with, or more extensive than, the standard few callbacks process for massive roles. Gunn uses test screenings to refine his films, such as Superman, often hosting multiple screenings to adjust comedic timing, pacing, and emotional beats. Given his role as co-head of DC Studios, his films are heavily vetted, sometimes resulting in substantial post-screening adjustments, cutting or altering scenes, similar to standard big-budget blockbuster practices, but with added scrutiny. So what are we doing here, DCU haters? It doesn't seem to matter what the project is or how different it is from another one within the universe. Somehow it's all bad before you've seen it for yourselves even. Let's look at the most talked about current projects in the pipeline with your views, DCU haters. Lanterns isn't green enough. Doomed. Clayface is crossing over to horror/film noir style. How dare they? Man of Tomorrow teams with Lex for the first time in a movie, with Brainiac as the main villain, which is also the first time he has been in a movie. As for Supergirl, is based off a specific Woman of Tomorrow story where she is really finding her way as a person. If you check the source material, she isn't glammed up, but all you care about is discussing the star Milly Alcock's looks. She was right condemning the objectification of the mostly anonymous posts about her being ugly. I've said it before and will say it again. I'm not being overly sensitive. You'll paint me as far left and women's rights advocating in this. While you do want to give women rights, sure, the right to remain silent. All I'm saying is she's someone's daughter. A young woman earns a role outright because of her acting talent. Because it's in the James Gunn DCU, you freak out on her toxically. I don't think it matters who would have been cast. There was always going to be something to slam them on and hyper-sensationalize. Be better people. With that, it's today's hubbub. The haters keep slinging hate while I keep slinging facts. Please subscribe if you enjoy my entertainment commentary heavy on DC and movie pop culture. No SnyderVerse, no problem. Take care of yourselves and others, hubbub homies.